On November 26, 2019, in Vancouver, Washington, 911 calls came in like crazy, saying that a woman was shot multiple times while she was in her car outside of a local elementary school. She was shot by a man that she tried so hard for months to get away from. Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sydney Morgan. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and in the comments below, let me know what you think. Or just say hi. Before we begin talking about this case, can I just say how stupid I think it is that it's so hard to get a restraining order on somebody who you actually fear for your life being around you? Like, it's crazy. I have a friend who recently went through a divorce and he bought poison. And I know this because I'm a mail carrier and it came into me in his name, and I was like, hey girl, your husband doesn't usually order packages. What is this? So she opened it and it was poison. She took that to the courts and even they said that's not enough. She's like, what do you mean that's not enough? I mean, it's poison. How is poison not enough to get a restraining order? And she never got that restraining order. She is okay though. She sometimes watches these videos. Hi girl. Anyways, the case that I have for you today is about a woman named Tiffany Hill. Tiffany kept a lot of her life very quiet and private. So I've looked as hard as I can to find when she met her soon-to-be husband, but I can't find it. So we know that sometime before 2008, she met a man named Keyland Hill. They met while in the Marines. Tiffany wasn't really interested in Keyland, but Keyland pursued her like crazy until she finally gave in. Later on, she would report to her friends that she really only went out with him because he tried so hard to get her to go on a date that she just finally gave in. Shortly after their first date, the couple did get married very quickly. Tiffany left the Marines in 2008. After they got married, they had 3 children together. Shortly following Tiffany's departure from the Marines, Keyland also left the Marines. At the time, they lived in Michigan, but they moved from Michigan to Washington State, and it's been said that they only did that because Keyland wanted to get Tiffany away from her family and friends and isolate her. In a lot of cases of abuse, that's what the abuser does. He isolates them from their family, friends, so that he has total control of them. It's believed that's why they moved literally all the way across the country. So they moved to Vancouver, Washington, and immediately Keyland gets to work with his new job. Tiffany stays at home with the kids, but Tiffany, she can't sit still. She immediately gets involved with the kids' school. She is part of the PTA. She is doing everything and anything that she can for the PTA and the school. They literally called her a super mom. This woman would take care of the house, take care of the kids, and then she would stay up late at night baking and cooking for the school's events and all kinds of stuff. People loved Tiffany. People also said that Keyland was very likable as well. But as good as things looked on the surface, they were not as perfect as what Tiffany and Keyland tried to make them out to be. Keyland was very abusive. It started verbally, then it turned physical. But it didn't turn physical as in beating his wife right away. Tiffany would later tell her friends that he would do things like make sure that she couldn't go to sleep at night and kept her awake. He would pour water on her or her side of her bed. He would do everything that he could to make sure that she didn't get a good night's sleep. I don't understand this. So my husband and I were together. We broke up for a short time period, and I dated another man. And he did the same thing. Like, I worked nights, and he would come, when I would come home, he would take the blankets off me, shake me awake, make sure that I didn't sleep, and then I had to. Why do they do that? Why? Why? What? I understand the control thing with abusers, but I don't understand what the point in making sure that they don't have sleep is. It's pretty messed up. Anyway, after he was doing this little stuff in their home, nobody from the outside world, outside of their house, saw anything that was going on. He started slapping her. He started hitting her. Once Keyland noticed that Tiffany's friends were taking notice to everything that was going on, they started to catch on to. He started to catch like a vibe from her friends. Like, he might have known that they knew what he was doing to her. He started isolating her and trying to turn her against her friends, saying like, they're not really your friends, you shouldn't be involved with them. It didn't really work. Tiffany was not falling for it this time. She realized that he was trying to do with her new friends of what he had done with her family and friends back in Michigan. She didn't like this. She finally realized what was going on, and she wasn't having it. So now that Keyland started like physically abusing Tiffany to the point where it was visibly noticeable, Tiffany started calling out of school events. She wasn't going to the PTA meetings. She wasn't going to events. She was calling out. One time she actually called out of a school event because she had a concussion. She got that concussion because one night she says that Keyland pushed her. She hit her head on the wall, and she got the concussion. She was taken to the hospital. But while that fight was going on, her children were on their electronics and they were trying to get a hold of somebody for help. And they text somebody through Google saying, help, 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 help us, help us. Those people who received those text messages reached out and they called police. Tiffany gets admitted to the hospital with that concussion. Tiffany finally realizes that this is not okay. This is not a good situation, and she actually finally takes action against Keyland, and she files for a restraining order against him. Keyland was arrested. He was told that he had to leave the home. She immediately filed for a restraining order against him. But Keyland bonds out of jail, and he immediately starts violating his protection order. He is calling her nonstop, FaceTiming her everywhere this woman goes in public. Every time she turns around, Keyland is there. He is popping up. While Tiffany was at a school event, she gets a phone call from her social worker. The social worker says that Keyland was reported at a Walmart trying to buy a gun. And while you have a restraining order against you, a protection order against you, you are not allowed to buy any kind of firearm. It will flag you in the system and they will reject you. So Keyland was immediately flagged and a warrant went out for his arrest. By the time the police got to the Walmart, he had already gone. So now they had a warrant out for him. It got to the point where the school that Tiffany worked at and the kids attended had photos of Keyland up, handed out to everybody. They said, if this man shows up, put the school on lockdown and call the police. He needs to be arrested. But it doesn't matter because every time Keyland's arrested, he keeps bonding out. And for the next 2 months, everywhere she goes, Keyland is there. He's popping up everywhere. So all of her friends are like, wait a minute. How in the hell is Keyland finding you? How is everywhere you go, this man is finding your exact location? So they search the car. And under the wheel well, they find a little black box, and guess what? It's a tracking device. He was tracking her this whole time. That's how he knew exactly where she would be and when she would be there. And that's how he kept popping up. But when they figured out that he was tracking the car and found all that crap, is because he had showed up at a restaurant that she was at. They called the police showed up, they found the tracker, and Keyland was again arrested for stalking. So they all go to court while Keyland's still in custody. Lawyers and prosecutors for Tiffany's side said to the judge, don't let him out. If you let him out, this man, he's trying to get a gun, He's stalking her everywhere she goes. He's going to kill her. He's threatened multiple times to kill her. Do not let him out of jail. So the judge says, well, he looks like a good citizen to me. We're just going to go ahead and let him out because it doesn't seem that serious. And even though he violated this protection order 64 times in the 2 months that this woman has had it against her husband, he's trying to buy guns. He's trying to show up everywhere she is. The schools are ready to go on lockdown if they see him. Like, obviously, this is an issue. They shouldn't let him out. But the judge let him out. Tiffany getting word that he's going to be let out of jail. She's scared. She's talking in communication with her mother. Her mother's scared, so her mother comes to Washington to be with her so that she wasn't alone during all of this. But on November 26, 2019, the day that he was released, he went straight to that elementary school. Somehow, dude found a gun. He went to the school. He waited outside of the school. He saw exactly where Tiffany was parked, and he waited. Once he got off he was on the phone with his mom this whole time. Once he got off the phone with his mom, he pulled up and he blocked Tiffany's vehicle. He got out of the vehicle and he opened fired into Tiffany's car. Tiffany's mother was in the passenger seat. She was in the driver's seat. Her children witnessed Keyland shooting Tiffany. It is said that he originally pointed the gun toward Tiffany's mother, but Tiffany moved in the way to protect her mom. Tiffany was pronounced dead at the scene. Tiffany's mom was also shot, but she recovered. The school immediately went on lockdown. And all of Tiffany's friends, who were also part of the PTA and everything, they start getting phone calls saying that there's a shooting, the school's on lockdown. Everybody said that they knew exactly what it was. They said that they knew that it was Tiffany that got shot and it was Keyland. After the shooting, before police arrived, Keyland got in his car and he took off. Police caught up with him and they went on a high-speed chase through town. Eventually, Keyland stopped his vehicle, got out, turned around to look at police, and he shot himself in the head. So now these poor babies have to grow up knowing, witnessing their father shooting their mother, and then obviously Keyland fled. He was down the road when he shot himself, but they are forever going to be traumatized. I mean, it's absolutely terrible. This woman was in the courts begging for help to get protection from this man, and they just released him. So there actually was a law in process at the time of all of this going on where a person of like high level risk domestic violence issues, they are to be notified via like a tracking device when the offender would be in their area and near. That way, at least they would get notified, like, hey, he's within 100 yards of me. I need to get the hell out of here. Lawmakers heard of Tiffany's case, and they went to Tiffany's family and they said, hey, we're in the process of making this law. This is the perfect example of why this law should be passed. Do you mind if we put Tiffany's name on it? And shortly after this, in 2020, in the state of Washington, the law was passed called the Tiffany Hill Law, that will notify domestic violence victims when their offender is in the area. I think this is a great idea. I think they should do this in every freaking state. I don't know. This case infuriates me. It pisses me off. When somebody is literally in front of a judge begging for help, you should help them. But they didn't do anything. They didn't do a damn thing to protect Tiffany. They let her offender and soon-to-be killer out of jail, and what did he do? He immediately found a gun and went and killed her. Let me know what you guys think about this case in the comments. What do you think about the judicial system and how they treated it? I'm pissed off about it. Anyways, Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this video. Make sure you come back, you subscribe, you like, comment, let me know what you think. In the description below is the link to my shop. I'm offering 25% off for the whole month of December for my handmade soy wax melts. They are 5-star rated with over 2,400 sales. And come back in a few days and let's chit chat about a new case.